got probably about maybe 3/4 of an inch of ice, 1/2 inch of ice last night. Luckily, the power did not go out, but I don't really like being unprepared in situations like this. It was flickering on and off throughout the night, so I think we probably need to get to working on some sort of backup power source for our house. I know a generator would be the easy way to go, but I don't really like to do things easy around here, so let's see if we can figure something better out. All right, so you guys know us. We're always on the road, always trying to work on equipment, and it puts us in a lot of compromising spots where we don't have anything with us, right? I can bring basically some hand tools and some cordless impacts and stuff, and it's really frustrating. We've been stringing long extension cords for a while, and it's finally time for us to get set up with some actual power. So combined with that, I wanted a system that would not only let us power like a vacuum, air compressor, maybe some bigger electronic tools if we need it that weren't cordless. I wanted something that I could actually use to back up the power in our house, especially, not only here, but in the future if, Lisa and I get a cabin or something somewhere, we're building somewhere. I want something where I can just pull up my truck and have power at my fingertips, right? So this is what we're gonna set up in my truck, hopefully. So I went with this Sigenier or Sinier Power, I'm not really certain how you say it, inverter. This is a 3,000 watt, it's a pure sine combined inverter and charge. You can see there, it's up to 9,000 peak, I believe, for like a minute or something, or 80 seconds. And the cool thing about this is that it actually produces not only 110 volts here in this outlet, but it also produces split phase 240 volt power. Split phase 240 volt power is what you need if you want to run bigger appliances like the welder right there you see, maybe some bigger air compressors and stuff. But the cool thing about split phase 240 is that it's actually the exact type of power that your house takes, meaning I can just plug it in instead of a generator into my house. But one thing that I wanted with this was I wanted not only power while the truck was running with a high output alternator, I also wanted power just from a nice battery if I had, power a vacuum or charge a battery or something short, even my filming stuff, or in the event that we lost power and I just wanted to run the essential things in the house overnight. So I went ahead and found someone to partner up with and give me an awesome lithium battery for this thing too. So I wanted a battery that was going to have a ton of storage capacity, not be super heavy or like bulky. And a couple of the things you have to watch out for, you got to have a battery that takes a ton of input charge current, right? So if we're charging up to like 200, 250 amps, you could fry a typical deep cell battery, right? So I was looking around and I actually found this PowerUrus 200 amp hour battery. It's 2,000, that's like 2.5 kilowatt hours of energy is what's in this thing. It's absolutely massive. I'm pretty excited about this. It's not a bad battery in terms of price wise, and it seems to be a pretty good thing, has pretty good reviews, so we're gonna throw this in the truck as well. So in the end, basically what we should have is we should have like 2.5 kilowatt hours of energy storage. We should have a full like 3,000 watts of power with a surge up to probably like 9,000 watts for a minute and a half, and it should be a pretty awesome setup for not only working stuff on the go, but in the event that we have a power failure at our house here, we can take care of it, right? All right, so I got this for 40 bucks, and I know it looks ugly, but I promise you guys I have a plan. Safety glasses are free, by the way. What are you guys doing? A little better. So looking at this now, we don't have a ton of like extra height, but I would be very okay if I basically had, kind of a wall here with a bin and then a wall here with a bin, and then these were just kind of open to the top. So let's focus on getting these two things mounted kind of up and off, putting a divider wall in, and then maybe we'll put a nice little panel right here for some plugs, which would be cool. All right, so I think I've got something basically mocked up here that I'm gonna go ahead and get cut out. I gotta make my 2D templates, and then we're gonna see if we can send out and get the stuff all laser burnt and sent. While we're waiting for that stuff to come in, I wanna send this thing out and get it dipped to strip the paint and the rust. You guys gotta wait for them to come back from lunch? Huh? What's out there? Hey, what's going on? Looks pretty good. We'll have our 240. We got it up here. So it looks pretty good. I've got a couple more pieces of steel I got to put in here. I'm going to secure the inverter and the battery. And I've got some welding. I got to finish this thing up. And then just because I bought the cheapest toolbox I could find, I've got like some rust and stuff that I'm just going to go ahead and patch up while we're at it here. So let's get to work and kind of bust this thing out, and then we can start wiring up to see what we get and see if it works. Oh, well, that's something. Oh, can use this. Okay, nice. So this should tell us everything. Yep, look at that. So we got our input. That's if we're charging, like if we're hooked to grid power, which we won't be on this. Battery voltage. right, so that's the wiring for the 120 and 240. So just real quick, the magic behind it is we've got 2 hots, a ground and a neutral, you can see back there. So the 2 reds are our 2 hots. So each one of those is 120 volts. This is a really good picture of that quick. So you can see the potential between the 2 120 legs is 240 or 250 on this picture, right? So this is a 240 outlet, which is exactly like what the welder will run. And then I've also got 2 120s, and these are on different legs of the 2 120s. And then I've got a 20 amp circuit breaker for each one of these because I don't want to overdraw that wire. And then we have our control unit. So we're still just on battery right now. Whoa, GFCI's popped. Alarm, no. Fault, no. Looks pretty good. Output AC, 242 volts. So let's do something cool. So this is just a resistance heater. You can see they're up to 1500 watts. So look familiar if you guys watched the video with the Onan generators. So let's just plug it in. Make sure everything is A-okay. That's nice. Those plugs are nice and sturdy. Fan works good. It's saying like 1% maybe. So we'll go 750. I was saying 50% load. Instantly the fan on the inverter turned on. That's kind of funny. And then up to 1500 watts. So that's saying 100%. So 1500 watts. That's saying 100% load. And I'm believing that's because that's from one phase, right? So yeah, looking good. Man, that battery's a freaking beast. It's powering 1500 watts like nobody's business. The voltage doesn't even drop hardly. So the last thing we really have to do is we have to wire up the DC from the truck, because remember, this battery will get us through a lot, but if I'm running like an actual extended power outage or something like that, or I'm really sucking some juice, I'm gonna need the DC from the truck. So let's wire that up, and then we'll give it a really good test with the 240. All right, so to run this thing sustained, we're gonna run a couple big cables from basically the batteries on the truck back to the toolbox. That way the alternator can give us the juice when we need it, and that's how we'll charge the big battery and things like that. So I'm thinking we need like maybe 200 amps. So I got some 1-aught cable here. This is pretty nice. I believe this is actually, yeah, made in USA. If you guys can see it there. A lot of copper in this stuff. So I'll put a link again to everything I've used into the Amazon cart. So right now, we're gonna make just a short one to go from that battery disconnect switch we put up to the inverter, and then we'll make 2 basically full-length leads, and then we'll run those to the truck later, right? That looks good. We got one more to run from there. That one will go to the truck. Then our other one will just combine up with this ground right here. Rip in peace. Man, sometimes stainless is like a little magnetic. Oh yeah, see that? That nut is the purest form of stainless, I think. Alright, so I got a 250 amp fuse there, you guys can see. Just because obviously you always want to use protection. Don't want any unplanned accidents or anything, like a shorted cable or something, right? Alright, so this will give us a really good ground. I wasn't really interested in ground into the frame or anything because I just don't want issues with it. We're talking a lot of current here. I've got everything pretty much wrapped up. I got to paint everything. But before I do that, just proof of concept. I want to make sure it works. I want to make sure it pairs with the truck alternator and everything like that. Just give it a kind of a decent test before we go ahead and kind of seal it in stone, right? So let's load this thing up in the truck. We'll hook those power cables up. And then we'll put it under a sustained load for a while and see what happens. Oh, this is heavier than I thought. Oh. So we got that. Our disconnect switch is off. Let's go up front and just touch that and make sure we're not having any shorts. All right, let's just see. That looks good. All right, so we're all hooked up front. I kind of just want to do a sanity check with the voltage. Well, it's hard to get down there. You guys can see that, right? So let's just make sure we have power coming to. Hey, what are you doing? There's a random, well, the neighbor's dog came in to say hi. I should have showed you guys. All right. Oh, we're on AC. My bad. All right, there. So that's our battery power from the truck. That shows us we got power here. I'm pretty confident the connections are good. So if we turn this on and we look at our voltage on the unit, so this is 13.4, and then we're gonna click this. So now we're tied in with the truck, and you can see my truck batteries are horrible actually. So this big old beast is powering them. That's why our battery dropped, which is funny. So it's good. But you know, when the truck's running, the alternator will power that no problem. All right, so this is the maiden voyage. Truck's on, the alternator's charging it. Toolbox is in here. So let's check our voltage quick. So I've got everything hooked up. So right now, if you look, our voltage is 13.6, but the truck, you know, the connection to the truck battery is off. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna flip it on. Oh wow, listen to the load it put on the truck. And then see our voltage creeping up. So the truck will probably run, you know, maybe 14.7 or so. It might take a minute for it to creep up and charge all the batteries. And then if you look in the truck, you can see the volt meter right there, that 18 and 8. And let's see if it drops down when I turn it off. So not really, but it might be charging the batteries on the truck. The load it puts on it is interesting. So one really cool thing about the RoyPow battery is that it has an app with it. So you guys can see right here in the app that it's about 60% charged right now. And then it's, you know, taking an input, probably about 45 to 65 amps of input current. So that's why you hear the truck bogging right now. So that's working good. And it's charging via the truck. The voltage looks pretty good. So honestly, all signs look pretty good right now. One thing I didn't really think about is if the battery's trying to charge and I'm pulling a big load on it, what's it gonna do? Is it gonna try and charge the battery and the run the load at the same time from the truck, or will the battery give a little bit? So I hope that system kind of regulates itself a little bit, but we will see. A couple other things. Right now, I already wish I would have put the outlets on the side of the toolbox, because like the only way for me to use this is to get up inside the bed, and you know, I'm 30, I'm getting older, so it's not that bad, but that kind of sucks. It'd be cool just to flip the lid open and plug it in, use that. And the other thing, I'm gonna have to get a high idle switch for this truck. If you're really using some current, like 1500 RPMs would be sweet, and right now we're sitting at maybe like 750, 800, so pretty good. But let's put a load in. I'm not gonna plug in the house yet because we gotta wait till the end on that, but let's put a couple electric heaters on it and see what we get. So we'll start with one right now. What I'm really interested in is what the truck thinks of this. So we're good. So that's cool. That's 1500 watts, and the truck literally isn't changing at all. And I'm in with the truck, so I should be able to run this infinitely. Let's check the battery and see what it says about the input-output current. Is the battery given or is the battery taken right now? Shh. 13.2 volts. Definitely not dropping to 12 like it was before. So the truck is actually charging the battery and powering the heater right now, and really not working that hard. So if I kill the switch, listen to the truck, it gets a little happier. But you can watch my voltage drop there down to 12.7 or so. Turn it on, climbs up slowly. Cable seems good. I'm not overworking it or anything. Honestly, this is freaking sweet. All right, all signs are looking good. So let's get this thing painted up, and then we'll give it the ultimate test. Can I turn my pickup truck into a backup generator for my home or not? If you guys think about it, this is exactly like a modern PowerBoost, but I don't really want to buy a new truck. I like my old truck. So PowerStroke, PowerBoost is basically what I'm making. Ford, I expect some royalties on that if you guys do that. All right, here it is. It's all done. Painted up in the truck, and it's gonna stay here for good. So I went with the truck liner, even though I had a couple snafus spraying it, but just to give it a little bit of a textured look, because that'll really hide like where I replaced, you know, those spots on the toolbox. If you go with a gloss, you gotta have it perfect underneath. So that looks good, even just for a Rust-Oleum paint job. Open it up. Inside looks nice. Battery's in. This all looks pretty cool. This is just the primer. Got my latches hooked back up. I did add a couple charging ports just for, you know, when I'm filming on the go. That's critical. So that's basically just live. I could probably charge a lot of GoPro batteries from this big boy. Inverter looks good. I added some cord grommets back there because I know everyone's going to be all concerned about that, and I added one there too. Before I was just testing the fit on everything. So it looks pretty good. I'm happy. Style points for the toolbox, just because honestly it's kind of got like a 90s vibe that goes with the truck, which is kind of cool. You're probably not going to find one that looks like that anymore. Then if you come up front, Got our fuse block and our wires hooked in. I did order a couple of new Odyssey batteries for this. I don't think the Walmart ones are gonna cut it. And we'll see if this high output alternator I have works. If not, then we'll go ahead and we'll get something from like DC Power or MechMan or something. So if this is something that interests you, let me know in the comments below, because I kind of made this as like a functional prototype. It's not perfect. I don't know, if there's a lot of interest, maybe we could share some plans, or we could try and figure out a way to help you guys make them or make some ourselves. I'm pretty excited for it, and I think we're gonna get a lot of use to it. So let us know down below what you think. You know, we could always maybe try and figure out a way to get some out to some people. And then again, I will link everything that you need for this in our Amazon store down below. So if you guys wanna do one, you can actually just go there. And even if you don't order it from Amazon, that'll just kind of show you what we use and what it's gonna take, and give you an idea of the cost if you wanna do something like this. Other cool thing is I can always add more batteries to this, so you could actually have like a pretty good off-grid portable setup. And if you want to just put a plug on, you could throw it in the truck when you want to use it, throw it in the garage when you don't use it, and that would give you some battery storage. Special thanks to the guys at RoyPow Lithium. Again, they hooked me up with that battery, and I'm putting a link down below. They're going to give you like a discount on the battery. I'm super impressed with the battery so far too. You know, if you guys are in the market for something like that, I don't know if I would look any further. There's a lot more options out there, but a lot of them are more expensive, and these guys are good. The customer service has been good, and I think you get a pretty good deal on this. So there's one more thing to do, and I think that is to plug in the house and see if we get the same functionality. So let's see what we get. I'm going to come in here, flip off the main breaker so we don't backfeed the grid in the event of a power outage, and then flip on this breaker, and this ties the generator plug to the house, which will in turn tie this guy back to the truck. But while I go do that, you guys can watch the screen on the inverter so we can see what kind of load we get. I'm not even going to start the truck up for this because I don't have anything big on the house, but we'll kind of go from there. All right, here goes nothing. So I'm going to kill the main. Everything in the house is going to go off. And there we are in with the inverter. So that's interesting. We are seeing a 21% load, but that's nothing like what the heater showed us, right? So let's check the battery quick. So the battery's discharging like 30 amps, which really isn't a big deal. We can do the math, 30 amps times 200 amp hours, so we could run for, we could run for a long time like that, 3-6, like 7 hours basically, which is pretty cool. So if we actually did have power outages, we could run extended overnight. And this is just like our house is at idle, you know. Got garage lights. It's amazing, this power is so pure from the inverter. Doesn't really care. If you look in the house, we have a concerned dog, but all the appliances are lit up. That's pretty cool. So honestly, I would call this a great success. I can start the truck up if I want, but if you give yourself a good base like I did with that battery, the truck's really just there to charge it, you know, when you need, and I don't need the truck right now. So that's pretty cool. If we wanted to abuse the inverter, we could pull a lot more, but we're pulling 30% right now, so we're maybe pulling 900 watts or so. You know, we've got all the way up to 3,000 continuous, so it's pretty cool. The fan's not even on in the inverter. This is awesome. This is a great day. So again, I will probably find the most use for this setup just in kind of being on the road and working on equipment like we do quite a bit, because I'm just tired of having to, you know, rely on not having basically any like standard power tools, air compressors, things like that. All I've had is just my rigid cordless tools. So this should be a big help in that sense. But then you get the added, you know, ability of just being able to back up your house when you want. I don't know. This is cool. I'm kind of speechless, as you guys can tell. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, we'd love to hear from you down below. If you're interested in the channel, make sure you subscribe. This is kind of an auxiliary project for us, but we do all kinds of cool stuff here. So as we go out, I'm going to flip on, I got the mini split right here. Let's just flip on the mini split and see what the inverter and the battery say. So we want cool. And we'll bring it down to 66. All right. She's turning on. We got some air blowing here. Let's go check the inverter and see what kind of power we're drawing. Ooh, we got a little fan action, but we're still only 50% load. Battery voltage is holding good. Sick. 1994.5 Ford OBS power boost. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll talk to you next time.